Hi, we're back with another game in the 3-minute Blitz pool. Again, we're going to be trying to keep some fast pressure on the opponent, hence why we've gone for this slightly offbeat opening against the French with the queenside fianchetto. Here, this gives us a fairly standard position, but one which we should know slightly better than our opponent. Played a4 there to stop any b5 expansions, but we're just going to keep up the pressure on the clock as it's a fairly innocuous position on the board, and we're not worried here about trades. Hanging this pawn, but it's one which we can recapture shortly. I think we could consider this one now. Yep. So again, bringing our knight centrally and opening up the attack on this e5 pawn, which we can recapture. So let's see, probably best is bishop d6. So then after knight takes d6, queen takes d6. But no, our opponent is getting optimistic here, sacrificing their knight, and this is fine for us. Yep, we don't need to worry about. I think we can take this one, and then after knight takes, recapture, and any queen coming in, we can always drop back and hit, or even continue to expand. So here, I mean, the fact that our king has been misplaced on g2 isn't really something to be worried about at the moment, because actually it's black's king that is more open and more vulnerable to attack. This largely comes down to the fact that we've actually got pieces developed, whereas all of black's pieces, aside from their king, are still on their starting screens. So with the queen and king lined up, we can open up the center, and this should lead to a devastating attack. Even though we're sacrificing our knight there, yeah, this is going to be winning us the queen. So, and I think here we are threatening mate in 2 moves with queen check, and oh, that's me. Not that, we wanted to move the rook, not me. Yeah, rook check, mate. Cool. So we're steadily climbing. We're going to try and push for 1100. So again, we've got French, and we're going for our fianchetto. Here it looks like our opponent is potentially going for hippo setup, in which case we can expand and then push in the center. Could also push and break this way, but our opponent is letting us open up some lines and letting us do it with some tempo. So here, as we can see, similar to the last game, our opponent is massively behind on development, whereas we've got our king safe and we've got our pieces developed. And on top of that, we've got a lovely center. So as always, the question is, how can we punish our opponent and make the most of this? I think we can just go for it immediately and break in the center. So, and here our opponent walks into a fork of these 2 pieces, but again, this is just helping us push and expand in the center, gaining more space and keeping the pressure on our opponent. Actually, knight takes pawn is maybe the best here, but after that we're just going to take on e6, and then yeah, again, I like, even though our opponent hasn't dealt with the fork, I think we are still going to relinquish this, taking here purely as this queen move disturbs the king further, potentially forces a move like this one. And now we can develop again with tempo, as we can exploit the pin of this d6 pawn, which we will do immediately. So if knight recaptures, we can take with our queen So here we're now up a piece. King is looking pretty hopeless. Just need to make sure we don't do anything stupid, like allow this one. Trying to see whether we can come in immediately with knight check, knight takes, queen takes. I mean, yeah, we can, because it forces the king back this way. I mean, this is if knight takes. But if, say, knight check and the king just moves, then yeah, we'll have two pieces under attack. So that's potentially not the best. Though, you know what? Let's go for it anyway. Because if king comes here, then we're taking, and actually our queen cannot be taken because of that trusty pin on the d6 pawn. So this is what we're hoping for them to take, which forces the king to the back rank, allows us to win the rook with check. And we can just keep the checks up here. Or we don't want to force the king to a better position. So actually we're just going to grab that pawn and say, yeah, what's your king doing on d7? Here we're just up a bunch of material. So much so that we can just preemptively sacrifice there. We can also take this one, removing the defender of the knight on d5. Okay, I want to kick this queen off of the defense of the knight, which will be forced very shortly away, as shown. Taking here, and yeah, it's going to be over very shortly for white once we can bring our last pieces into the attack. Yeah, for black even. Right. Keep bringing these pieces in. I think we can take here now. So now we've got some tactical threats of rook f7 check, and if rook blocks, then we can always take and then win the pawn on c7. But here, black cannot be surviving much longer. I also like the look of just taking here and dropping back with the bishop. It looks nice and threatening, and as we said, at this point, we're just totally won. This is nothing that black can do at this point. Yep, come back, check this one. And here, I actually quite like this nasty move. Well, actually, it looks good because if pawn takes, we're winning the queen, but instead we can also chuck this one in first. And now, when we do our rook to sacrifice, we can checkmate. So that was, yeah, quite a fun little finish. Now we don't want a rematch. We're going to play somebody else in the pool and see if we can push up to 1100. So here we have a Scandinavian defense, and I like this knight f3 move. Just you get some quick and easy development. Here, this pawn isn't hanging because, oh, well, actually, the c4, we've made it. Yeah, c4, we would usually have a bishop check here, which would then pick up the queen, but instead, this is fine. Again, it's not something to be concerned about. I think we can just keep up our development here, and then we're going to gain some tempo on the queen. Here, our opponent is just shuffling back, giving us some tempo, which is a-okay with us. I think we'll just develop hit this one, forces knight a6, f3, gonna bring our rook back to d1 here. Yeah, this was partly the point of bringing our knight to b5, and then it discourages c6, is that weakens the d6 square as shown. But here, Actually, let's bring this rook over so we can maybe bring out other rook central as well. Yeah, here it looks like black's just totally being crushed. And now after our rook e1, we can threaten some moves like this and bishop d6, repositioning our pieces into the attack. Also consider a move like queen here, so that way when this one comes, we'll be threatening on this square as well. But no, I think this is fine. Knight f5, and yeah, bishop d6 check, picking up that queen with the fork. So lovely. Again, here what we've done is kept the pressure on our opponent, and that takes us up to 1100. So we're progressing quite well with this one. We'll see when we run into some stumbling blocks. Let's just have another quick look over what happened in this one. We had a Scandinavian opponent ended up giving us quite a few tempo, sacrificed the pawn at the opening, but our opponent was just wasting time. Here we threatened the fork, which they covered, though they gave us an inroad after the mistake of c6, and after which case we again just built our position and threatened to bring our pieces in, winning the queen and the game. So cheers, see you all next time. Bye.